Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you some food and non-food preps that I've been kind of acquiring over the last few months. There's a big stack that you can't see over here of a bunch of things that I was waiting to unbox and kind of show you guys because I think it's fun to see what other preppers are doing, what other preppers are getting, and I just thought it'd be fun to show you all the stuff I've acquired over the last few months. Not to be like, oh, look what I got, but just to give you guys some ideas of things that you can get, purchase, or find maybe somewhere at a yard sale or Craigslist, that kind of thing. But hopefully you can hear me. I already broke my little lapel mic. You know, I'm accident prone. I flung it across the room and it cracked and so it stopped working. I will be getting another one, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me. So let me go ahead and open the first thing. Okay, the first thing is a number 10 can of Auguson Farms freeze-dried corn. I always go to Auguson Farms site on Amazon to see if they have anything on sale, and when they do, and only when it's on sale, I purchase just a couple here and there. This was $17.64 and you get 23 servings of freeze-dried corn. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. Yes, I stock corn in regular cans, but freeze-dried is good stuff because you know it's going to last a long time, and freeze-dried is super easy. All you do is literally add some hot water to reconstitute it. It doesn't take a long time to cook. So that's one thing I got. Okay, the next thing I got, and it's kind of hard to see because it's in a case, but this is a case of Hormel ham, chunked ham. Got this on Amazon. It was $18.18 for the case, which is like, I just did the math, $1.52, $1.51 a can. This is essentially what it is. I used to buy this at Walmart. This is one I got at Walmart, but I had a hard time finding it. It wasn't on the shelves anymore, so I went looking for it on Amazon, and they did have it. This is good stuff. And it's a smaller can, like a tuna size can, 5 ounces. But for $1.50 a piece, and I like the little case it comes in. It's easy to stack. Okay, the next thing I got is this Gas One dual fuel camp stove. It takes butane or those 1 pound propane canisters. I already have another one of these. It was only $37.49, and it's the best $37.49 I've ever invested. As far as preps go, I was so happy to have the first one. I got a second one, and it was mainly because when I saw Survival Living's video when he went down to South Florida to help the hurricane victims, he had his little tent. He was feeding tons and tons of people, but he said that people were coming up to him one after another asking if they had any camp stoves that they could spare, because these people didn't have plans for cooking off grid. They were out of power. They had no way to cook whatever food they might have had in their house. So I thought, you know what, I might as well have a second, because you know the saying, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So here is my second one. It comes in this handy dandy case. You turn this thing over when you're ready to use it. This is where you would put the butane canister. And then my first one came with a hose to connect the 1 pound propane tanks, but this one comes with more of like a regulator adapter type piece. So it's a little different than the first one, but functions the same. And this is definitely something I think that everybody should have in their preps. Absolutely. A way to cook off grid. Yes, you could say that you're going to build a fire and, you know, cook like that, but why not have a camp stove? They're super handy, and if you ever go camping or have a picnic, you can bring it with you. So definitely something good to have. Okay, speaking of propane, I also got this little propane adapter so that when your 1 pound propane tanks run out, instead of throwing these away, you can use this adapter. I don't know which side goes where, that probably goes there. To refill from your 45 pound, you know, your big propane tanks, so that you're not wasting these. And these are much more handy to keep around if you're camping or on the go, going for a picnic or whatever. You don't want to lug that big giant tank. Just refill these smaller ones. And this is something you guys had suggested. It was probably like $7 or something, but very handy to have. Okay, this item here is something that I probably should have had 2.5 years ago when I started prepping. It's kind of a prepper staple. The water bob, which is basically a giant water bladder that holds 100 gallons, up to 100 gallons of drinking water. So some people might think, well, why not just fill up your bathtub? Well, your bathtub has an overflow drain and it will stop filling up at some point. You can use this and it will literally fill up over the top of your bath, and so you'll get to maximize the amount of water that you can store. And yeah, I should have gotten one sooner, but I'm glad to have it. I want to say it was $37 when I bought it, and it was on my Amazon list a long time ago, and I should have bought it then because it was probably $10 cheaper. But anyway, better late than never. So the benefit to having one of these and a way to store lots and lots of fresh water, if you are having a hard time finding spots to, you know, store water bottles, that kind of thing, this is a great way to, in a moment, you know, where you might have some notice, like a hurricane is coming, or that something has happened somewhere in the world, but the water is still running, the water is still good, but you know that that might not last very long, that you can go ahead and fill this up from your bathtub. There is a little spigot. I don't know if you'll be able to see this picture, but there's kind of a way that you can take water from it using this little pump spigot type thing. And so it's just a super handy thing to have. Glad to finally have one. And it's definitely something that you should have in your preps too, because water is vital. Okay, another water related thing. I have been storing water or buying water in these large containers here that have 5.28 gallons. And I was thinking, how in the world am I going to lift this up and like pour it into a container? And I hadn't really found a solution for that, but I really like these storage containers. This is not the prep I bought. I like these containers because they're stackable. I don't know if you can see this little indentation right here. And then on the other end, it's indented in. They stack on top of each other, which is super helpful. But I recently found this device that was super cheap. It was like $10. And it's just a little pump, like spigot type thing that you attach to the top so that you don't have to lift this giant, heavy thing. It's just going to screw to the top. There's a little tube that goes down into it, and it's a manual pump. You just push it down like that, and your water is dispensed. So super helpful thing that I found. Go Ducks water pump is what it's called. And like I said, it was about $10. And now I have a way where I don't have to lug this giant container and try to tilt it sideways to pour a little bit of water out. If you have one of those dispenser type machines, you know, where this goes upside down and you push the little button that dispenses, that's great. But I'm pretty sure those are powered by, you know, an outlet. And if you lose power, you won't be able to dispense the water. I don't know because I've never had one. I just assume. But yeah, if you're storing water in this type of container, which is very inexpensive and a very good way to store water, you might want to look at getting one of these. Okay, another item. This security camera is one that I already had one of, but I really have been thinking hard about increasing my perimeter security. I want to know where people are around my house, if there is anybody around my house, well in advance so that I can prepare myself inside. And like I said, I already had one, but this went on sale for Amazon Prime Day. Probably not on sale anymore. But when I got this second one, it was like $37, and this thing is awesome. Yes, it can only be used if the grid is up and running because it requires Wi-Fi, and it works remotely. It has a USB rechargeable battery, so you take it off the mount and you can charge it, and it lasts probably a month at a time. The battery lasts a good long time, but it picks up any peripheral motion. I'm going to link it down below. There are different types. This wireless one I like because it's easy to charge. I'm not going through batteries. It's just a rechargeable battery. And it doesn't have like a pan zoom feature, but that's okay because it has a nice wide angle lens. And now that I have two of them, I'll be able to cover all angles, you know, that anybody could be getting close to my house. I'll be able to see everything. And I think, especially being a single mom, single woman, it's very important to be aware of your surroundings, know what's going on around you, and as the economy gets worse and worse, you have no idea, especially if you live in a city, who's lurking outside and around your house waiting for an opportune time to either break in, to hurt you, harm you, take your stuff. You never know. So security is definitely a good thing to focus on. And speaking of security, got another one of these. I don't really go into this portion of prepping too much on the channel for certain reasons, but we have rights for a reason. And if you are a single person, a single mom, it doesn't matter who you are really, you have the right to protect yourself and your home. So please do it. And this is going to be loaded very soon. I got 2 more bottles of the 65 milligram potassium iodide in case of a nuclear incident. Yes, I realize that this is not going to save your life entirely, but anything that you can do to mitigate the effects of nuclear radiation, you should do. And I want to make sure that I have enough for any family members that may wind up at my house if something goes down. And I'll put a link down below for these. Okay, this is a saddlebag harness for Obi. Yes, it's brightly colored, not exactly camouflaged, but just for hiking. And if, say, we did need to bug out, these little zipper pouches here, I can store lots and lots of bags of dog food so that Obi can carry his own weight. When I was backpacking back in the day, back in the old days, my other dog, God rest his soul, carried his own saddlebags, and he carried his own food. We carried all the water, but he was happy and proud to carry his food. When he put this on, it was like he knew what he was doing and he was proud of himself. So yeah, I think if you have a dog, this is a good idea, something to have, especially if you have your own bug out bag. Why not have one for your dog? And this is just another one of those, as Alaska Prepper would call it, peripherals. The stuff that's not absolutely necessary, but that's kind of cool to have and kind of helpful to have once you had your food supply, your 1-year food storage down. This is the Night Fox Red night vision goggles. These ones work really well. I've tested them. They're fun. They're actually really cool. My son likes to play with it, and I just thought it would be something good to have just in case. Like I said, I was talking about security outside my home. If something's going on outside, I'll be able to see them before they can see me. These work incredibly well, and it's not one of those things that I would say rush out and get right away. Obviously, work on your food stockpile first, and water filtration, methods of cooking, shelter, that kind of stuff, before you get into the gadgets and gizmos like that. But this was found on a secondary market for a good deal. And last but not least, very unexciting, but I got another storage tote. Got this at Walmart. It was about $9.78. These used to be $7 and change. So they've really gone up, which kind of stinks. But personally, I really like these low profile ones because they fit cans of soup or canned goods perfectly. And I use these for storing stuff under my bed. So under my queen size bed, I can fit 6 of these, and 48 soup cans fit in each one. So I needed another one, went ahead and grabbed it. Hopefully that video was somewhat interesting. I always like seeing what other people are doing, what other people are getting. It gives me ideas, and I'm like, oh yeah, I never thought of that. I might need to get that. But yeah, make sure you're getting the things that you can, but first work on your food storage. Always work on that first. But maybe this will give you some ideas for some other things that you might want to invest in next time you get paid or next time you have some extra money. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.